So we always start at the feet, right? And we always are pushing a step towards the center. But when we very first start, the first thing we do is we silence ourselves in our mind and silently thank our client for letting us put our hands on them and center ourselves and be very quiet. And then when we start, we're listening, okay? We're using our movement, our rhythm rocking dance, and we're palming the sin lines or thumbing them, okay? So let me teach you how to thumb, okay? You can do thumbing the sin lines with two hands, or we can do them unilaterally. So if I was using both palming or thumbing the sin lines both at the same time, I will use what we call the dragon mouth. Dragon mouth means that I'm supporting my thumb on the other side with these fingers. So when I clasp a hold of the feet, I have fingers on one side supporting my thumb. My thumb's going to go from the heel all the way down in line with the all the way down to the end of the big toe. Then I'm going to pinch off the end of the big toe. I'm stimulating that energy line to release blockages, and then I'm throwing it not on the person behind me with the intention that it's just going to recycle and transmit into something beautiful, okay? All right, or whatever. I'm recycling and throwing it to be recycled by the everything. Universe, thank you. Okay, boom. So then I went to the same spot at the heel, and I'm going in line with the next toe. Next toe, boom, done. La la la, thumbing the sen lines all the way down in line with the next toe. These are also connective tissue lines. You want to release back pain and create more space in the body. You have a line of fascia that runs from the bottom of the feet all the way to the occiput. The lines that I'm working that are sen lines in the bottom of the feet are also they're connective tissue lines. So we would work these lines to release this fascia that runs up all along the back. So if you have somebody with low back pain or any back pain at all, hip problems, whatever, plantar fasciitis, you work these lines when the plantar fasciitis is non-inflamed, okay? All right, in line with each of the toes. Now I'm on the fourth toe. Okay, you can't see because she has socks on. You can work, if your client wants to have their socks on, that's fine. You want to take your socks off, you want to keep them on.
Oh, I don't care. My toenails aren't done, but I don't care.
I don't care about that.
Sorry, y'all.
It doesn't matter either way if you can feel. I want you guys to be able to see things right now because you're not used to just feeling them. But anyway, so we work these lines usually about 3 passes. I think 3 is the rule of thumb. So for all intents and purposes, so that we can move things right along, today we'll work them bilaterally. Tomorrow I'll teach you how to work them unilaterally, by which we would scoop up the leg like this, and we can work them with both of our hands like this, okay? But today we'll work them bilaterally. All right. So now I've worked the lines in the feet. I'm ready to work the lines in the leg. I'm going to go to one leg, one side, and I'm going to take my supported thumb, and I'm going to work up the side of the leg. Actually, I'm going to work palming first. Sorry, scratch that. I'm going to work palm. My first pass is going to be palming. My next one, then I can use thumbing. Okay, broadest tool first, then we work to more specific. I can work in any direction, right? As long as I end going up. Start going up, end going up. Okay, pushing everything towards the center. Once I work the lines going up on this leg, what do I have next?
Helicopter. Or no,
legs and arms.
Palm and thumbs.
I'm going to come up to the arms here. And I'm going to work my send lines starting out, working towards the center. First with palming. I'm going faster than I want you to go. Okay? I would take my time and go up nice and gently, rocking and moving over my stroke, right? I can palm with both hands once I've done one run up towards the center. I can go any direction, and then when I'm ready to end, I have to go towards the center. And I can even just sweep towards the center. That's fine, that counts. Right? Once I've done that, I'm going to come back to my leg here. I'm going to start my joint rotations. So first we do send lines, next we do joint rotations. When I'm down at the feet, working the send lines down here, if I have the foot in my hand, I can do joint rotations at the ankle if I want, or I can come back down and do them before I'm ready to do the hip rotation. So joint rotations in the ankle are much like you would imagine. I like to support around the ankle, but you could do both ankle rotations like this. Keep in mind, when you have your hand around that ankle bone, or if I'm working the foot individually, and I have my hand around that ankle bone, I'm heating up everywhere that my hand is touching. Okay? Everywhere that my fingers are placed is creating pressure, which creates friction, which heats up those colors. So I can do my joint rotations that way if I want to, or I can just have my hand under the ankle supporting it that way, or I can just rotate it. Right? Next, hip rotations. This one's called, we call this one the helicopter. It looks much like a helicopter once you get going. Okay, I'm not going to lift her leg up and start moving it around. That's bad for my body, and it's not going to feel very good to her either. I'm going to be very supportive in this, and I'm going to use my body, and I'm going to use that rhythm rocking dance that we talked about, okay? So I got my rhythm rocking dance. I'm kind of going to move in a very circular way. I'm creating perpetual motion so I can move her body, okay? So I'm going to scoop up her foot, and right underneath the popliteal fossa, I'm going to scoop it up. I'm going to create this circular motion, and I'm going to continue forward with grabbing her leg, okay? If you have somebody that has very heavy limbs, they're longer or whatever, if you're using this motion, it's going to work. Also, use the breath, okay? Have our client take a nice deep breath in. Would you take a nice deep breath in for me? As she breathes in, I'm going to let her expand. As she breathes out, I'm going to scoop up that foot. And now I'm assisting the body, breathing out and breathing the leg towards her is going to push stuff out, even more so. Okay? Also notice, I can use my own body to support her body. So, I'm going to start moving her in circular motion. Okay? I can move one direction, and I actually want to probably be a little bit closer to her. Notice how I am just, I'm setting into my sockets the way I need to. I'm just moving my own body, and her body's moving because of it. Okay? I can use my body to help move her body. And see, I can rest her body on my body too, and move that way. Whatever feels most comfortable to you. It's going to feel comfortable to her too, okay? So we're going to move in a circular motion. You can do little circles, but make sure you use your whole body to create that. You can do bigger circles, okay? All right, so we're going to use this movement not only to remove restrictions and to create space, we're also juicing the joint, okay? Juicing the acetabulum, that's the hip joint. We're helping the body release certain things it has in the joint area that creates lubrication so that the joint can move smoothly in there. That's another thing that's happening here. But also we can use it to transition into a different position. So I'm going to use this momentum to transition her into sideline. First we got to make sure that her arms are out of the way. Can you guys please move out of space there? So we talked about jostling yesterday. You can jostle and then you can toss. You can only toss. You can only toss in supine. I'm not trying to toss arms when you're in any other position. It doesn't support it right. Okay? If the arms are in the way, jostle, toss. It feels great.
It does.
It does. And it's so satisfying. It's really fun. Okay, so now I'm moving her in the direction I want to go, which is that direction. Okay, I'm moving her whole body. She has a lot of space in here, so it's kind of floppy sometimes. So in order to control the floppiness and get a little bit more control of the body, some people will be really stiff and you're like, oh, this is so stiff. Well, some people are going to have a lot more space in there and be kind of floppy. So if it's floppy, then just use your body a little bit more to support that. Right? Move with her, but also support it. So I'm going to move in this direction here. You can work with the breath too. Take a nice deep breath in. As she breathes in, I'm going to let her expand. As she breathes out, I am going to move her to the side here. And now she's inside.
It's like magic.
It's like magic. Do you guys get that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. We don't want that momentum to continue for her to flip all the way over. We want it to be nice and gentle. Okay. So I kind of aim diagonally for that to help. But you'll get the feel of it once you get going. Okay. And then I want to be right at her side here. Okay. Or maybe a little bit higher up. I'm in diamond stance. I like our closed diamond. I like this stance for what I'm going to do next. I'm going to do shoulder rotations. Okay, our next set of rotations, shoulder rotations. So I'm going to bring my arm underneath my inside arm, and then we're going to be about pubertal fossa to cubital fossa here. I'm going to have my hands all around that shoulder girdle. But my fingers, I like to have them right on the subacromioclavicular joint start because you get a lot of restrictions there. And so as I'm moving around in circles, wherever I have my hands, it's creating what? Friction, which is heat, which is what we need to remove restrictions. So I can do small little circles if I want, or I can do small ones to bigger ones, going one direction, and then another direction. If you feel something click or catch, move slowly. Have your client breathe maybe. Take a nice deep breath in and nice deep breath out. And take your time with this. Don't be in a hurry and listen, because you can hear a lot of things if you listen. Okay, so also another thing. Once I start moving in different directions, this way and that, I can start moving. I'm going to support her with this arm, and I'm going to start warming things up around that scapula with this hand. Now, I have this hand right here, the coracoid process, where we have muscles that attach there, especially ones that have a tendency to shorten, to be overused, which is our pectoral muscles and whatnot. Right here on the coracoid process, right here. Okay, don't know what the coracoid process is? It's where it's the bone. One of the scapular bones creates this little bony protuberance called the coracoid process. And usually, when we have processes or protuberances, that's where muscles attach to. Okay, If you have bony depressions, it's usually going to house and protect a gland or something. So this is one way you can think about it. So this bony protrusion is called the coracoid process. It means bird's beak. It looks like a bird's beak. Kind of name things after what they looked like back then, or after people. So that's what that's all about. Anyway, so I'm going to start rotating around the circle. Now look, I'm not using my arms to push her shoulder around. No, I'm moving from my center always, and I'm using my whole entire body for that movement. And wherever I start moving this hand to, I'm heating up too. So I'm going to do some circular friction around the scapula as I'm moving in a circle.
What tool are you using with your hands? Is that your knuckles, your palm, your thumb?
Fingers.
Okay.
Okay. So we're using fingers. Okay. Actually, first I want to start with palm. So first we start with palm, and then you can move to ulnar blade, which is the side here. We're going to start with our broadest tool, palm, and I'm like just moving around that medial margin, that the inside part of the closest to the medial line of the body. So the medial margin of the scapula, I just have a flat palm there at first, and then I can move to something more specific. And I'm going to move to fingers, and I'm just going to start doing maybe some circular friction there all around as I am coming around. Then I'm just going to kind of lightly compress as I am coming around the circle that way. Okay, I might rock back the other way, lightly compress in, lightly compress. All right, next thing I'm going to rock her this way, and as I rock her back over this way, I'm going to fold that scapula right over my fingers.
That feels so good.
This is how we can get subscap in a wonderful way that's not going to injure our client or alarm the nervous system. I've already heated up the tissues, and I can just rock back and forth like this, and her scapula is right folded over my finger. How beautiful is that? Over 9 different directions. Okay? So that's called scapular folds. I can do some cross movement by friction if I want. I can use my little dragon's mouth down there. It's really opening up nicely. It was kind of stuck before, and now it feels like it's really opening up. And you can start. You always start at the inferior angle of the medial margin, okay? That's the lowest part in that little corner. We always enter in there. It's the easiest place to get in, but once you do that, you can start moving up. Okay? Good, any questions? Scapular folds, okay. Then I'm just gonna open her up a little bit here, just open up. So, I want to do like a little bit of a twist. So I'm going to start rocking my client here, rocking, and I can start, as I start opening her up, I can move back and forth on these lines if I want to, or I can just cradle this arm and support this arm and start opening up a little bit. Then I'm going to move my body, stop the leg from coming over, and actually, so a nice way to stop the leg from coming over is to put your body there, and then I can work the send lines on the leg here. Leg send lines. So now I have a nice. I can work some leg send lines here, and I can also do a nice little twist here. I can also bring my foot here and then come here and do my twist. Okay, So take a nice deep breath in. We'll rock her this way, and as she breathes out, I'm going to bring her further into the twist. Breathing in, let her body lengthen on the in-breath, so I'm letting her body breathe, and as she breathes out, I'm just going to move her into the twist a little bit. And as she breathes in, I'm going to let her lengthen and rock, open up a little bit, and on the out, that's when we do the twist. Okay? All right, twisting postures are really amazing because twisting postures allow our body to wring out like a sponge, like a washcloth, right? You get it wet, you wring it out, okay? But also, so we're removing old things, right? And we're creating space for new stuff to be sucked up in there. So when you wring out a sponge and then you put it in water, it should even just like draw in all those nutrients. Also, we're creating space in the spine directly and removing restrictions from the spine, which has a tendency to really get bound up with material. So our vertebrae, our vertebral column, each vertebrae is made to move separately, but because of overuse, underuse, and misuse, our body will glue vertebrae together to create support in the body. So twisting helps remove those restrictions, creates space, opens things up so now that blood can go in, draws blood into the areas in between the spine that may not have a direct blood supply. So areas that are avascular, which means they don't have a direct blood supply, now can have juicy blood flow go right in there. That is healing. That blood is bringing proteins and collagen and elastin and healing with it. Okay? We're assisting the body. Let's see, tree, lake, sunlight. Okay, so then I'm going to, after I'm done with my twist, I'm going to do a half a turn back into supine. Oh, into tree pose. Okay. So I'm going to do a half of a circle. Boom, land the leg into tree pose. This is an actual posture in, yes?
So what you're doing right now, also you're doing all of this soon as, because this is a lot to be taking in all.
You'll have a teacher to help you.
Okay.
Okay? We'll go halfway through if you'd like, and then.
That would be nice. This is
Okay,
a lot.
that's fine. All right, so some of the stuff we did yesterday, and so the new stuff is pretty much just the postures and the rotations. All right, so then once you're in tree pose, you can work the sin lines on the medial thigh. Let's take it to there and then switch and everybody try it, and then we'll see where we are from there, okay? Okay. All right, cool, thanks.